Welcome back to the culture. That's Cowboys Culture Podcast, baby. New look, same pod. I just posted a story on Instagram, says the same thing. New look, same pod. Today we're going to be talking about some hot topics today and talking about narratives around the Cowboys, a couple of stuff about preseason games. So we're going to get into that here pretty quick. But first we got to pay those bills, baby.
Oh, yeah, man. Once again, thanks again to 360 Roofing and Restoration. 360, baby, in Arlington, Texas. Serving the entire DFW Metroplex. If you are in DFW and you have any roofing issues whatsoever, you're a homeowner, a building owner, someone responsible for a roof that leaks, someone that maintenance director. Give 360 Roofing and Restoration a shot. Look them up. They're all over the place. Again, serving the entirety of North Texas. So thanks again to 360 Roofing and Restoration. Thank you, Coy, for all your support.
So, let's just get into it, man. We lost our second straight preseason game of the season.
Man,
I have had it's so funny because I've had so many people like, what happened to those Cowboys, man? And I'm like, how am I supposed to tell somebody like that? It's a preseason game.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter unless you're the Ravens.
Yeah, right. Man. Shout out John Harbaugh, man. You take the preseason very serious. I think Harbaugh's undefeated in like 30-something preseason games or whatever. But, people that say, what happened to those Cowboys, man, they couldn't wait, man. They stayed up. They stayed up all night Sunday night saying, "Oh, I can't wait to see a Cowboys fan tomorrow."
Yeah, but when we win, they're Cowboys fans.
Sure. Yeah.
They're like, yeah, man, we did so good. Who's we?
Yeah.
Who's we?
Who's we? Yeah, man. You're the guy that says that we're going nowhere with Dak.
Yeah, we need to get rid of Dak and then we'll be good. Yeah. Okay.
How much longer before someone says we need to get rid of Micah?
Golly.
Do you think that's a this year thing?
No, actually, I did hear something about.
Stop it.
No. Somebody, I forgot where I heard it, but I heard somebody saying, like, has Micah become a problem because of, like, his, I don't know, just the way he's interacting with
it's
teammates and things like that, or saying that he's, I don't know. There was, like, an interview or something like that somebody was reacting to, and they were like, is Micah becoming a problem for the Cowboys? And
all right, we'll move on.
Ridiculous.
All right, so, Micah
else.
Parsons is a huge problem for the Dallas Cowboys. So that's, Micah's weird. He's a weird dude, right? And I think
he's an interesting guy.
Yeah, I think there's got to be some interestingness about you when you possess the killer instincts this guy has. He's just on a different level in all phases of life.
Yeah, it's true.
So Micah Parsons, bad for the Cowboys. You heard it here, folks.
Yeah,
first, folks.
We essentially, back to ball. We have some news, some culture news, Cowboys news. That's what we do. So, what news do we got, Jacob?
Yeah, so unfortunately, most of the news we have this week is not the greatest. It's mostly having to do with injuries. So some of us know. Starting off, I wanted to talk about one that's maybe not as it's not seen as severe. The Matt Waletzko, the offensive lineman injury. I heard that it was some kind of a shoulder thing, maybe related. I think he's had kind of like some history with this shoulder in the past.
It's the other shoulder, though.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
okay.
It's the opposite shoulder.
Well, so I guess he's got something wrong with the
he's
with the shoulders
bad
there.
Shoulder guy,
but
bad player. He sucks. So.
But from what I heard, it's not going to be as severe, or it doesn't seem to be as severe as some of the other ones. Unfortunately, we have to talk about. So most everybody knows we lost two promising rookies for this season, Overshone and John Stevens Jr. Mm-hmm. Really unfortunate there. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I mean, Overshone, that one hurts, I think.
Yeah.
Looking forward to him in the backfield this year defensively. I think he brought a lot to the table. I think that's that one hurt. I think we're going to be short at linebacker depth. So
it's one of those things where we were thinking about probably going out and getting another O-line prospect just to kind of sure it up. And now it's kind of looking like we need to go fill one of those spots with linebacker because, I mean, John Stevens Jr. was a guy who was going to come in and just be like practice squad level.
Mm-hmm.
But I was listening to, I think it was, 105.3 Bobby Belt or whatever, and they were talking about how now he turned into somebody who was like, okay, this guy can go in when Micah's taking.
Yeah, I think he was going to be on the team.
Yeah.
You didn't have tremendous expectations for him for John Stevens Jr. It turns out he can play. So he was going to make the team. He was going to be fine. You'd kind of see him. Yeah, he would rest Micah. That's what he would do.
Yeah.
But who, should Micah even be on the
Yeah.
team? But no, I'm more sore over. Well, Let's Go is going to be he's going to be back. All right, Overshown's done for the year. That's torn ACL on a tackle. He actually made a good play on a guy, and yeah, just was it Lockett he tackled? Was that Lockett? I can't remember. He tackled a Seattle Seahawk. So he just kind of got his toe hung up in the turf there at the end of the hit, and
Yeah. His knee kind of just buckled.
Things. Yeah. It's really unfortunate. So yeah, that's one that's I think that's one that we're going to feel if we don't fill a spot.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, go ahead, Jim.
He was really. I'm upset about the John Stevens Jr. one. He was showing a lot of stuff. I know he probably wouldn't have started this year, but I was excited to see if he could even develop and get some reps in the season. So I'm sad for him, but I'm really frustrated about the Overshown one, and this is exactly why. Personally, if we remember from last week, I was saying I've seen what I need to see from Clark and Overshown. I don't want to see him playing again because they clearly showed that they have starting capability. Honestly, Overshown was showing signs of like, man, if this dude keeps going at this pace, maybe he could be even more than a starter. Sometime in the near future, he could be a kind of a breakout player year one. Because I just like the diverse skill set that he has. I just feel like he added so much to the defense. His type of the type of player that he is unlike any player that we have so far. Yeah,
he's like a mixture between that J-Ron Curse and Donovan Wilson, but in a linebacker's body.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, as to where Curse is kind of tall and slender. But yeah, Overshown, man, he can fly around.
And he just seemed like he was taking in everything really quickly, processing well, learning the scheme. I mean, even to be able to be a green dot guy this early in his as a rookie. I mean, we saw a lot of his leadership abilities coming out. I was just so high on this guy. So he was probably one of the guys that I was the most excited about out of the draft class. So to see him go down, I was pretty upset, and I'm just hoping personally that this doesn't end up changing a lot for him. I'm hoping he's able to come back and pick up where he left back off.
So he's on his rookie deal. So I mean, he's going to be in camp next year, barring that surgery's fine and everything. So he's going to get another shot at this thing. It's really sad just for a kid, just for I'm a pull back the curtains on me. I'm a huge college football guy, right? Watching him at Texas and everything was, I mean, you could tell early on this guy could play, and I was glad to see him here. So really unfortunate for that kid. But he's going to be back. There is Damone. He's going to have to step up now.
Yeah, and he has a little bit. I mean, he's shown some elevation, even in the off season and the preseason games. Like he's showing, and even last season, he didn't look bad. Mm-hmm. Like he looks good.
He's coming off of a major injury back at LSU. Go Tigers! But I mean he got himself hurt real bad, and to see what he did last year, and I do feel like the sample size we have. from the preseason this year, it feels like he's taken a step forward.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
He has.
You can tell the difference between somebody who's a starter in the regular season and a good start in the regular season when they play in the preseason. It's just like, okay, like this dude's playing out of his mind. Like he's tackling pretty much everybody. Like he's just he's just playing ridiculously compared to these like backup players. And well, I mean, even against the Seahawks starters, So, I just wanted to kind of get away from the injuries. It's kind of gloomy. Let's talk about some other news. B. Cooks flying around.
Yeah, Brandon Cooks, man. So, for anyone that doesn't know, Brandon Cooks has his pilot's license. He's been in aviation his whole career, his whole football career, as he also now has a piloting career.
Yeah.
So it was funny to hear. This is just how bored these veteran guys get during the preseason. He rents a plane in Seattle this weekend, loads up Parsons and Gilmore, and flies around Seattle and flies over the stadium and everything. And Brandon Cooks has apparently petitioned the Cowboys to do a flyover during a Dallas game at some point. Of course, we play with our roof closed most of the time, so.
It wouldn't really make any sense.
No, but it also doesn't make sense that players are in airplanes flying themselves around.
Yeah.
So that's what they did. That's how bored they are.
It's not only is it the preseason, but it's like 2/3 of the way through a preseason game. And
My chair keeps sliding down. We're having technical difficulties.
Is what it is.
Yeah.
It's 2/3 of the way through a preseason. So you're just kind of like you've seen, which kind of brings us to our takeaways from the game. We've seen everything twice now, even against the Seattle Seahawks starters. Like Jalen Tolbert was good. We thought it might have been a fluke in the first game.
No, he's good.
Nope, he's good. He's going to be he is wide receiver 4. Don't need to see anything more. However, I will say that in the first game, it was kind of like, okay, like he had some, good stuff, but he took over that first however much time. Like,
yeah, him and Cooper Rush were feeling themselves.
Yeah, like he was doing whatever he wanted against the starters.
Yeah, for sure.
So, that's great to see because you don't want to go in, hearing, well, who's going to be the starter? Is it Tolbert? Is it Simi Fehoko? Which, golly, Simi, I mean, just butt cheeks, man. I mean, just terrible.
Yeah, it's disappointing.
I mean, what was this? I think it's like negative, or what is it? Negative 2 yards with, let's see how many targets. 4 targets, 1 catch. I don't even know every catch, that was thrown or pass that was thrown to him. But there's no way you should be in that position ever as a receiver.
No doubt. Yeah, it's
when you get in there and you see Dennis Houston with 22, 1 reception.
Dennis Houston can play, man.
He can play.
He just happens to be. It's so funny, man, because Dennis Houston. If this is Cowboys last year, Dennis Houston will see a lot of time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's that guy must hate Brandon Cooks.
Talk about some Drummond. You're into some Drummond.
Yeah, no, I mean, I liked him. I think he has kind of like a he's got an interesting skill set. I mean, he's got that kind of like hybrid receiver, running back style physique. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know. I just watching him in camp. I always liked what I saw from him and what he brought to the table. But it's like what Steven's saying. It's just such a crowded room. Last year, these dudes had a shot.
Yeah.
What's his name? The guy that you were just talking about. I'm blanking on his name.
Oh, Dennis Houston.
Yeah, Dennis Houston. He was actually. I mean, he started. He was taking reps in game 1.
Yeah.
That just shows you where you were. But I mean, it's just the sad thing with Simi is we just have. It's sad to see it with this guy. I mean, he's a 6'4", big body guy with a 4.3, 4.4 speed. Yeah. I mean, you would think it's sad to see with a guy like that, but it's just like we have so many of these young dudes that are just like balling out, and he is just, I think, clearly lagging. He's in year 3, and if unless he makes some kind of a drastic change or step up, I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know what's going to happen with him.
For every person on our team that and for those of y'all who don't know, in a preseason game, it's not like you're throwing it like in a regular season game. It's going to be CD, it's going to be B. Cooks, it's going to be Gallup, it's going to be probably Schoon and Ferg, and maybe a couple passes to Pollard.
Yeah,
I mean, this
starters are starters.
The receiving list is everybody who isn't a starter is getting reps in receiving.
Yeah,
and he is the bottom of the barrel, -2 yards.
Yeah,
just bad.
So
moving on.
Moving on.
So,
I gotta ask you, Jake. Another guy you're always high on is Luke Schoonmaker, who finally saw a little extra time out there. I mean, what'd you think about his performance? I mean, is he on the move or what?
Yeah, I mean, I think he had 2 plays, 2 catches this time. And I mean, to me, he was looking good. He's looking more comfortable. Mm-hmm. He was definitely. I saw a lot of good. We already knew he's a blocking guy, but I think that he was doing a really great job at that. And we're finding ways to get him a little bit more involved in the passing game. You could see. I think it was like a third down, and he got a shot, and man, he picked up a good chunk of yards and was moving good. I think it's good for him. It seems like as he's getting more reps, he's getting a little bit more confident. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I liked what I saw from him for sure.
Yeah, he is
not. I'm sorry, Ethan, but he has not been manhandled by a defensive player yet.
No,
and he's coming off of an injury. He may only be 85-90% out there, to be perfectly honest. I mean, he was only cleared like the last week before the preseason started to be out there playing. So, and to be taking those reps and everything. So I'll tell you what, if he's there to block, he's doing fine there.
Yeah.
When it comes to Jake Ferguson's there, he's there to make plays.
Yeah. I think the difference between them right now is Jake has made some splash plays. He's had those moments, right? I think Schoonmaker hasn't had enough. Like, I don't know if it's that he hasn't had enough opportunities, because I mean he kind of hasn't. He hasn't. I mean, he's only had like 3 catches total. Schoonmaker.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I just think whatever they have asked him to do, he's done it, and he's done it well. He just hasn't. Maybe it's because he's still getting his, recovering, or he's finding his rhythm, or whatever. He just still hasn't made that I hurled somebody on Thanksgiving moment that really puts him.
He's not showing,
on the radar.
He's like he's showing. It seems like he's just they asked him, hey, this ball's coming to you. Make sure you make a catch. He's like, okay, but he's not showing off that that athletic grade that we saw in the combine.
Yeah, and then when literally everything Ferguson's touched is very athletic.
Yeah.
I mean,
we'll see.
Two different types of tight ends.
I'm not disappointed. I'm happy with what I'm seeing, and I'm hoping that game 1 we had 1 catch, game 2 we have 2, and had got to see some good blocking. I'm hoping that if the trend continues, I think he seems like he's developing pretty well.
Hey, why does everybody tell me that Peyton Hendershot is our best receiving tight end?
I don't even know.
Y'all remember him?
I'm starting to forget about Peyton Hendershot. Like, he was kind of I don't know what it was in that room with Kellen last season, but Hendershot was so much of a focus sometimes, and it's just he's kind of falling by the wayside. I mean, he's kind of pulling a Fehoko right now. It's just not doing great or anything at all. But I mean, he's boring. He's a little tight end. He just runs and catches. That's about it.
We would be remiss not to mention Deuce.
Well, I was going to say the race for running back order 2 to 4 is just. I mean, it's anybody you can. Every game you can just be like, okay, it's Pollard, obviously, and then it's Malik, Deuce Rico, Deuce Malik.
Yeah. So who do you think I mean, look, Deuce being small and everything. I hate to even mention that, but like some of the things. I mean, everybody gets it. Deuce Vaughn's a short person, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, because of his size, he's able to make these types of moves and stuff that the traditional running backs can't. I think he scored off of something that looked like only he could have done, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but who do you think had a better game? You think Rico Dowdle had a better game or Deuce Vaughn had a better game? For me, I'm going to say Rico had the better showing.
Yeah.
And then Deuce had the more electric moments.
Mm-hmm.
Had those Pollard-esque moments, you know, where it's, you know, and then Rico just played a solid game, you know.
Yeah, I think that Rico did more to kind of get himself a little bit ahead, or you know, kind of increase that distance between him and Malik for that second role.
Yeah, good call.
Second role. I mean,
Malik had a better game than last week, but
but I think that, and I think even I'm pretty sure that they gave Rico, he was the first back out there, right? So I mean, maybe they were like, they saw what happened in game one. They're like, hey, let's give Rico some shots with the the first O line, and I mean, he didn't disappoint. I think he did a lot to kind of beat out Malik Davis and a lot of people's
they were
mind.
pretty comparable as far as
they were,
showing.
but I don't know. I really liked what I saw from Rico. Obviously, Deuce had that splash moment.
Mm-hmm.
He's electric.
Malik's longest was 18, though. He had the longest one.
His first two runs of the game, I mean, he broke off. And it was kind of like, whoever was calling that game, I know Isaiah Steinbach was in the booth. Shout out, Isaiah. I know you watch the pod. I watch yours too. Yeah. But we
saw your comment.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Thanks again. But, so, he was like, whoa, Malik Davis is awake. All right. So, here he is again, and still kind of early on in preseason week 2, he was kind of like, all right, I mean, this guy is supposed to be running back 2. While we're talking running backs real quick, I mean, is Ronald Jones does he need to just go get an apartment somewhere? Or, like, he's off
Pretty
the table,
much.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, I live in McKinney, Texas, if you know where that's at. He went to McKinney North. That's where my son goes. But I quietly pull for him.
Mm-hmm.
But I really, like, is there any room for this guy? I mean, there's no room for this guy,
Yeah, because they're even saying for the purpose that they brought him in was that third down, like, bruiser back.
They're taking the place of Zeke.
Yeah, Rico kind of can do that.
Yeah, I think I think you can get 1 yard out of a handful of these dudes,
especially considering needing to go out and add, a linebacker or maybe like another veteran O lineman.
Mm-hmm.
There's no space to just go out and get another Pollard backup.
Hey, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. I totally trust the $10 million back to go get that. And I totally trust Dak to go get that.
Yeah,
so
me too.
That's true.
And if it just sucks and you just have nobody that has like the power, put freaking Lipke in there, man. It's just he's a bruiser. He's a fullback.
If he doesn't get bit by the turf monster, he'll get you a yard.
Thank God.
It just seems like for Ronald Jones, it's just really not. There's less and less of a spot,
especially
for him.
Considering the crap that he's going through. It's just kind of like, all right, it's whatever. If he was like, wow, and all the other guys were like, then maybe, but it's just not there. But I kind of wanted to, just get back to what I was saying. This preseason game, pretty much the same thing as last time.
Rinse and repeat.
Will Greer was drunk again.
Will Greer.
Cooper Rush came out and just the only thing that changed was Cooper Rush came ready to play.
Cooper Rush had enough. He got Jalen Tobert, to the side before they ran out there and said, you know what, I've been talking to this guy Will Greer. This is about to be a long night.
Yeah, he showed out for sure, but Will Greer, man, just. Did he have a touchdown? Oh, I guess he did have a touchdown in the first game.
Yeah.
This past game, 1 interception, 0 touchdowns, and you played the majority of the game. It's just like, come on, man! Make the right throws.
It's weird. Like, he actually is like pretty decent footwork guy. He can scramble a little bit and turn something into, turn nothing into something. I do get confused about some of his decision making sometime. And you kind of look at it and you're like, man, what are you on?
It's with him. He's got a lot of good things athletically and all that. Watching him at training camp, he's got some good accuracy. I mean, the dude can throw the ball. It's just when it comes to his decision making is just not as quick as you'd like. I mean, he just holds on to the ball a little bit.
And we kind of talked about,
and then when he finally does throw, it's not really.
Yeah,
where you'd
and
like
we
kind of
talked about how when he does that, he complains like. He gets mad.
Yeah, he whines a little bit.
He whines. Just like, dude, like.
Somebody else's fault.
Just be like a normal backup guy and just be like, sorry, guys. Just kind of.
Cooper rushed three picks last year versus the Eagles. Everybody hated him. He was like,
Yeah. But, yeah.
He got a deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, let's move on from preseason.
Well, I wanted to,
Just for the go ahead.
Well, I mean, we got to go back to the first round pick, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Let's talk about it.
Mozzie Smith.
Yeah, there's a lot there with Mozzie.
All right. I'm going to say this. I haven't seen a good showing out of Mozzie Smith yet. I've seen good moments. I've seen good moments out of Mozzie Smith. I've seen promising moments out of Mozzie Smith. I don't know that I've seen a complete performance from him. However, I will say this. That's a rookie playing in parts of 2 preseason games. I'm not worried or concerned. I think he's going to get this thing together. I saw the guy play at Michigan. He can clearly play football. The NFL moves faster, These offensive linemen move at a speed he's never seen before. It doesn't make sense that 300-pounders move like they do. So
before he's able to just use that raw strength, and he is like for his size, he is an athletic guy. It's not like he's not athletic.
And I think that's why he gets turned like he does right now, because he's trying to be athletic, and the game moves at a faster pace than he is used to, and it's just going to take some catching up to. But he got turned over and over and got left in the dust multiple times. Like I said, I don't think we've seen a solid performance out of him. I do think that this guy is good. This guy's going to play. He's going to have to play. Mm-hmm. We need him to play. But I haven't yet gotten like overly excited about a performance of his yet. I've been overly excited about moments.
Yeah, well, so it's like I think when you look at him, because people have, and we'll probably get into this.
Is he a bust? Is he a bust? Two preseason games?
We'll have to get to that. When you think about Mozzie, he's playing a lot of snaps, right? So we're getting to see a lot of him on both games.
Yeah,
but it's like we're seeing him against. In both the first 2 games, they've played their starters at the beginning. And so we're getting to see him against experienced, in some cases, very quality alignment. And yeah, he's had his moments where it hasn't been the greatest. But like Steven said, he has had a lot of good moments. He's shown us a lot of good things. And also, when it's rookies on rookies, when it's rookie on rookie or backup against Mozzie, he's getting some push.
Yeah, he played starters Saturday night.
Yeah,
he played against Seattle starters early in the game, and that's
where he had some. Yeah,
that's Seattle starters. Well, he's going to see New York starters in about 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Then he's going to see another New York starter.
So then are you on the? This might be a potential taco situation. This might be a bust.
Yeah, I think not only did we learn earlier in the show that Micah Parsons is a bust, but
it's just it's so hard to look at a one-tech defensive tackle and be like,
Yeah, in all seriousness.
oh, he's not impactful. I was listening to somebody say, like, the impact that he makes is for the linebackers and for Micah. It's not even like is he? Because we know, like, everybody knows we don't need him to get to the quarterback. We've got 5 guys to do that.
Yeah, he's slowing the ball down for the linebackers is a role that they want to see out of him.
He's shoring up that middle. That's
Fine.
all we need him for.
That's right. Stop the run. The Cowboys can't stop the run. Okay, and that's fine. If that's what he's there for, to just slow the back down for the linebacker, okay, fine. That's fine. If he's, I would hope that he takes care of some of that work. I hope that he can get some tackles and stop the guy at the line of scrimmage, for a first rounder. But I was just gonna say, in all seriousness, we're not sitting here talking about a guy being a bust 2 preseason games in. Even though there are some people out there, man. Cowboys fans are a wild group.
Yeah, no, it's like, I mean, because there were some moments where it's like, yeah, that is what he is. At least right now, he's that run stopping, take up a bunch of blocks dude. And there were unfortunately some moments where he did get kind of moved out of the way, turned around, and so. But it's like people are jumping on those like 1 or 2 bad moments, and they're just like instantly jumping to bust. And it's like, man, I mean, give the dude a shot.
Saturday, I saw him get flipped more than 1 or 2 times. Okay, he was not having a good day. There were moments where you said, "There you go, that's it, Mozzie," but he just wasn't having a good day. And I think again, I just go back to just recognizing that his athleticism is not all he needs in the NFL. Okay, it's gonna take technique. It's gonna take technique. It's gonna take skill. It's gonna take a lot of practice. I just think he got by for so long on. I'm just bigger and better,
Yeah, for sure.
I've got quicker hips than this guy. I got, I control the direction that the ball goes from the opposing team, from the opposing running back. Not, no one controls me.
Yeah.
And he's just having to get used to that, and that's what the preseason's for.
Yeah, he's building up his. Because you notice there's when he gets tired, he starts to kind of have some problems. So I think they're giving him those extra reps to increase that, but
Build
his
that
endurance. Yeah, but I mean, people jump into he's a bust. I mean, he's a 21, 22-year-old guy.
He is 21 years old.
Yeah, he's a freak athlete. He's insanely strong. He's really, and we were talking about this before. He's really kind of like the defensive tackle version of what Tyler Smith was last year.
Yeah, I like this comparison.
All physical upside, an athlete, insanely strong, young, really young. But he just, if we remember when people were talking about Tyler Smith in the draft, people were saying how his technique and his hand placement was a nightmare. But with his work ethic and learning from some of the dudes we had on the team, and just putting in that work. He ended up, and if we remember at the beginning in preseason, he was having a hard time beating out Connor McGovern for that starting job, but he definitely had his growing pains. But he ended up being a good solid contributor. I just think Mozzie deserves a shot just like he did.
Yeah, a solid contributor. I mean, he held it down.
Yeah,
maybe he's one of those kind of like Tyler Smith, where it's when you need him in those high stakes moments that like he kind of comes alive. Because when he was at Michigan, and even when they were doing like big time practice reps, he was huge. Like he showed out. And they talked about Tyler Smith during the preseason that he wasn't incredible, but when the season came, he was one of our, outside of Zach Martin, it was him pretty much when everybody was kind of getting hurt. But
he stepped up.
For me, the biggest thing about Mozzie is that, like I said, he is just that like strong. Like, if he can just be that sure up and push the middle of the line or take up those double teams, that's all we need. We don't need like obviously, do you want more out of a first round draft pick? Fine, but at least we have some talent there that we know we're not worried about it, like kind of how we were last year when Hankins went down.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do you guys have anything else to say about Mozzie?
Yeah, I mean, I think give him some time, right?
Yeah.
I trust. I'm just saying, I trust our scouting department. And so until proven otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and trust their judgment with Mozzie, and you know, I'm willing to give him a shot. I'm definitely not on the Mozzie's a bust train at all. I think he deserves more time to
anybody who's saying that there's a guy that was in college last year and he's a rookie in the NFL this year, and they're saying that he's a bust after seeing him for parts of 2 preseason games, like, get your head checked, you know. Have a professional look at your brain. So
I think that just you have something?
No. Just, you know, have medical attention given to your brain.
Yeah, it just kind of just shows.
So, yeah, I mean, I kind of just wanted to.
That's this fan base altogether, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. It shows there's a major problem with the Dallas Cowboys.
And that goes back to kind of what we were talking about before, you know, like people saying, you know, we need to get rid of Dak.
Micah Parsons is a problem for the Dallas
Cowboys. Like, Micah Parsons is the best player on our team.
Micah Parsons is a problem for literally every single human being that plays offense in the NFL outside of anyone who plays offense in the NFL for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
That's who he's a problem for.
Yeah.
If he's a weirdo and everything, you know, people say I'm a weirdo, so whatever.
It's just like, for me, whenever I think about the Cowboys fan base, not only do they just spew out, like a random fan will just spew out what they hear on like ESPN or something, but then also it's kind of like, to me it feels like the Cowboys are the only fan base where some of them actually love, but the only thing they do is talk crap about their own team.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's like
you look at the Jets. None of those people are saying, "Oh, Aaron Rodgers, we didn't want him. Like, we should have never got him." Like, everybody, the consensus is we're going to the bowl now with Rodgers. Like, you're not going to go to the freaking. The Bills basically have the same situation as us. Great team. The quarterback just can't get it done in the playoffs, and they're like, Josh Allen is the truth. We love this dude. This guy is awesome.
Okay. Here's where we got to dig into that a little bit. The difference in the Dallas Cowboys and the Buffalo Bills and the New York Jets, the Bills have never won a Super Bowl, okay? The Jets have won 1 Super Bowl, and that was when Joe Namath was there. Shout out last great Alabama quarterback. All right, so the Cowboys have a tradition of winning. Our tradition is winning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not like the Bills, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're you know, you look at the Bills in the 90s, they went to 4 straight Super Bowls, was quite an accomplishment. But we ain't trading our 3 Super Bowls in the 90s for their 4 trips, right?
Yeah.
So here's where, in my opinion, we've talked about it before, the age gap of this side of the table and that side of the table. We got 22, 24, and 38. All right, so I was a wee lad in the 90s when we were a dynasty, right? So, and then there was a dynasty previous to that, in the Staubach era and everything, and then the 70s. And Tom Landry. And of course, I won't dig too deep into it because everybody knows how we got here. We're America's team. We had a very presidential, very military man, as the face of this franchise, which was Tom Landry for a long time. Tom Landry, ran a tight ship, man. Tom Landry he was a no mess around guy, and he loved God, family, and football, and that's it. That's all he cared about in all the world. He was quite a patriot. Won't get into all that, but anyway, he runs a dynasty through this joint. All right, Jerry Jones comes along, buys a team, fires that guy, gets another guy, and he runs a dynasty through here. Okay, it got weird at the end. The Jimmy Jerry story, everybody knows it. If you don't, go check it out. It's one of the most interesting sports stories that's ever been told. But they kind of let Barry Switzer stand in Jimmy's spot for a year, and he wins the Super Bowl. So anyway, it's a dynasty, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you come into the very late 90s when that team kind of started to deteriorate, and we get into the early aughts. We get into the Y2K Cowboys, and it feels very 80s. It gets bad. And we were bad for a while. And I think if I had to pinpoint a moment when the Dallas Cowboy fans became divided, I would say it's somewhere around there. I say it's after Aikman, before Romo. We go through the string of quarterbacks. The likes of Vinny Testaverde coming through here. Don't even get me started with the Quincy Carter experiment before that. And I think those bad times is, if I could say, that's the moment where the real fans said, "I'm with the team forever and always," and then this group of Cowboy fans that hate the Cowboys was born. All right, and that's their birthplace. And then you move into the Romo era, and we're back, right? It starts feeling good again. Romo's great. All of a sudden, Romo goes through a couple of bad years too, and Romo was kind of injury prone through his career. I will say this: he was always there for us. I've seen that guy play through stuff that people should not be allowed to play football in. The guy beat the Niners in Candlestick with a broken rib. But then we got back to a place to where, okay, we have a chance every Sunday because this guy's here. All right, and he went through some good teams. He went through some bad teams. He got beat up very early in his career because we didn't have an offensive line. We got him an offensive line. Defense fell off. Didn't have a receiver. We got him Dez. We got him the likes of Cole Beasley. Witten was always around. Romo got better and better and better. This was an undrafted guy out of Eastern Illinois. All right, somehow figured his way to navigated just being the Dallas Cowboys quarterback. Period. So when we got back to a point to where Romo, is he good? Is he interception prone? Is it it's like, so then now our divided fan base is now pro Romo, anti Romo. And I think that's where that kind of thing was born, much like we deal with now, pro Dak, anti Dak, right? So moving on from that, Romo, 2014, Romo is, Des called it, we get to a point to where, like, we're on the cusp. Yeah. We're right on the cusp. And then 2016, we're in the preseason. We're having interviews with Romo. Is this team going to the Super Bowl this year? We were primed and ready. Felt a lot like I'd even say that this year, this preseason, the last time I felt like this, with all the promise in the world, was 2016. That was Romo's year. That was the year he was going to go get this thing. The team was finally around him. Mm-hmm. He gets hurt in the preseason. He's never to be seen again. Enters this kid, Dak Prescott. And that is where the divide was reborn, all right? Because Romo got healthy later in the year, and he was cleared to play, and he was Tony Romo, okay? Mm-hmm. And then you have, and he was right at the end of that prime, but you just knew he had it in him, right? But you guys, a savior, enters the chat. Here comes Dak Prescott. Here comes this young kid from Mississippi State, taken in the 4th round, had a good preseason. It's kind of funny, Romo's year that he took over, he had a good preseason. Mm-hmm. Who is this guy? For the most part of the world, for people that don't follow the SEC like they should, no one really knew who Dak Prescott was. All we know is he's a 4th round guy out of Mississippi State, tends to run a lot. Then remember he went on that no interception streak. Yeah. And that Romo Dak thing, that thing kept happening, right? So that's where I think the divide continued to live for a while. At least for 2016. After that, I think we went through a spell of everyone's on the Dak train, and then I think we go through a couple of years that look eerily similar to people my age and maybe even older, where it's like we're supposed to get to that next game, and we just don't do it. It just keeps not happening. And I think, like quarterbacks do, especially in Dallas, Dak Prescott shoulders that load. I think Dak Prescott continues to be the whipping boy for the reason we haven't gone to that level that I have seen and you guys have never seen, right? And point in case, Ethan, what's the best night of your football life?
Well, we talk about this a lot, but I mean, I did watch that Des Cotty game. That was crazy. It wasn't the best night of my life, but it was one of the crazier games. But the best night of my life was just that I can recall, I'll say, is just hanging 40 on the overly beloved Eagles of last season on Christmas Eve.
Yeah. So the best night of your football life is a regular season game against a division rival with, call it what you want, with playing a backup quarterback. So, and can I ask you the same question? What's your highest Cowboys memory?
Yeah, I mean, I would say beating Tom Brady for the first time at home in the playoffs, I think was an incredible moment because, I mean, everybody after the game is like, oh yeah, the Tampa sucked, but not too many people were saying that before. At least I was still very nervous because it's Tom Brady,
the greatest of all times, trotting out there at home.
They beat us before in that season, so that was a good moment. I think it was a good moment for Dak because a lot of people were saying he couldn't do anything in the playoffs, and honestly, I think he had one of the best performances of the postseason out of anybody in that game last season. But yeah, like so.
Let me. I love that you said that.
Finish the point that you were
right. I mean, ending Tom Brady's career and everything. Yeah. That's great. A wild card win is the greatest night of your football life. Mine is winning the Super Bowl. Mine's winning the Super Bowl in '95. Technically, it was '96 because it's January, right?
Yeah.
But mine's winning Super Bowl 30.
But
the point is that your generation of fans, and by the way, right now you are the biggest fans you will ever be. You guys are pre-marriage, pre-kids, and all that. Your life revolves around this team, right? Hello, we do a podcast. So, just my point is that my greatest memories are lifting the Lombardi. Okay, so when that team that I've seen be a dynasty, that I witnessed be a dynasty, lifting a Lombardi trophy in Phoenix, Arizona, I'm like, there's times where I feel like we have not done anything worth note, worth being the greatest football night of my life in coming on 30 years. We haven't gotten past the divisional round in coming up 30 years.
Yeah, I just think that doesn't just that simple fact does not. First of all, does our franchise as a whole have the best or the most Super Bowl rings in the league, or like I think we're tied for second or something? Yes, yeah. But clearly we're a winning team.
We're traditionally winning franchise, yes.
Right. And so that doesn't mean that we just, as a franchise, we're just a poor man's franchise. Like, that's not true. And second of all,
we're a rich man's franchise.
Right. We're the richest franchise. Yeah. But my point is like, it's hard for me. Like, was there like a 10, maybe 12, 15-year spurt that we were, from then till now where we were just like going through that, okay, we had an insane decade worth of Cowboys, and then now it's you got to rebuild sometime. Some teams have been in that rebuilding stage for eon, like their whole franchise. They've been in that rebuilding stage. Like the Lions. I mean, they just for the longest time they were just terrible.
And I think that's a very good point. I think that's a good point.
But my point, the ending of that point was these last 3 years, we've just, people always say, and do we say it? Yeah, I mean, sometimes we'll say it, but we're not always sitting there like, this is our year, this is our year. Like, I get annoyed when people come up to me and say, hey, is it you think it's your year? And I'm like, well, actually, this particular year, I do, first of all. But it's mostly because I look at the last 3 years and I'm saying, okay, we have 3 years ago, Dan Quinn gets here, and then Micah gets here, and our defense just explodes. Right.
Yeah, Dan Quinn continues to think it's our year. He won't leave.
Yeah. And then the next year you're really like, oh man, I mean, like we got even better from last year. And then we just fell short again, but we did better. And then we go out and get even more talent and we get even better. And so how do you say that 12-win team that honestly, barring Kellen Moore and some minor issues with tossing the ball to other people, we are at least a 13-win team if you count the Jaguars, and if we our defense freaking Kelvin Joseph doesn't get picked apart by Aaron Rodgers, we're a 13-14 win team, and we're battling for first seed in the NFC, right? But now you're looking at this year and you're like, this team got even better, where some teams got even worse. And is this the year where we can make the run to at least the NFC Championship? I have no doubt in my mind, and even go to the bowl. And I feel like if we do go to the bowl, we'll win. But my point is where I feel like we
Who are we beating? Kansas City?
Yeah, I mean, they're
Cincinnati.
It's one of the, in my opinion,
Buffalo.
it's one of those two. I don't know if Buffalo has that.
Yeah, it's going to be those
gear.
two in the championship game, right?
Yeah.
So,
but here's my thing.
Yeah.
I don't understand, and I don't like that. I'm in Dallas. This is where we are. We're in Arlington, Texas, where the Cowboys play at home games. And if I go up to somebody, or if I'm talking to somebody and somebody comes up to me and says, well, what are we talking about? And I'm like, oh, we're talking about the Cowboys. And they're like, oh, the Cowboys. Gosh, I mean, they stink every year.
Yeah.
It's like, what football are you watching?
That's a beating.
Like,
I think.
Oh, we got to get rid of Dak, or we're not going to be good. It's like, what are you even talking about? Get rid of a franchise veteran quarterback?
Why do we need to get rid of Dak? And what's the answer you always get? He sucks.
Yeah. Well, why?
Because I think what's highlighted here is it's and we're even seeing it in how Ethan's talking. Your point of when it's a younger guy who all he's grown up seeing, or like me, all we've grown up seeing is we were trash. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden we just put together 2 back-to-back winning seasons, or 12-win seasons. Our team is getting stacked, so we start to get excited. Whereas opposed to a person from your generation who's seen the glory days, right? It's like we're trash until we can have a guy or a quarterback or a team that can go to back-to-back Super Bowls. If you don't see that, then we're
my
bad.
point.
It's kind of like we're spoiled in a sense.
But
our fan base is kind of, or the older generation of our not older, but older than us. It might be that they kind of is that what you're saying? Like they kind of got spoiled by the past success.
So I that is a big part of what I'm saying. Spoiled by past success makes someone of that generation, kind of look at very, very little playoff success, which used to be our time, baby. It was literally sleep through the playoffs, get to San Francisco in the NFC Championship game. You win that, you go win the Super Bowl. So, that's what took place. So
I know, but there's just for example, there's teams that have been terrible, and like for example, the Bears.
100% agree.
The Bears send out probably one of the worst defenses this season. They add like one rookie on the O-line, and then they go get DJ Moore. And now the Bears are like, oh, it's just so optimistic. Like if I called a Bears fan right now and you talk to them, be like, dude, we're like, I have a buddy. Shout out Ryan. I'll text you and tell you to.
What
to
up,
watch
Ryan?
this. Yeah, Ryan. He's one of my good buddies. And Kevin. They're both Chargers fans.
Screw the Packers.
Not the Packers. Chargers fans.
That's why I said screw the Packers. Oh, okay. They're not Bears fans.
No, they're not Bears fans.
Okay.
They're Chargers fans. Oh boy, I mean, I talked to Ryan and he's like, dude, we're gonna do this. Like, you are not gonna be the sixth seed in your division, like in the AFC. I mean, there's just so many teams so good, but they think Herbert is that guy that's just gonna win the Super Bowl one day, and when they get another good receiver that gets hurt all the time.
Do these guys sit around and talk about the Chargers and Super Bowl?
Yes, like I remember I saw them when they lost. When they lost after Trevor Lawrence threw 4 interceptions in the first half of that wild card game, which is apparently super easy to win, and even though he's an elite quarterback,
right?
They were heartbroken, just terrible.
How did
this
happen?
Like he should have won the game. Like other teams go out like, man, we got it this year. If you're in the AFC and you are not the Bengals, maybe the Bills, or definitely the Chiefs, you're not going. Sorry. You're just not going. Mm-hmm. But for us, like, you're like, I was talking to some other guy the other day, like, you guys say, I mean, every casual Cowboys fan I talk to, you guys say we're going to the Super Bowl every year. This year, the only people we have to beat to go is the Eagles, who we beat all the time with Dak, every time, and the Niners, who for some reason we can't beat because of Kellen Moore in the playoffs, without a quarterback. So if we can beat them, we will go to the Super Bowl. The Vikings, we already saw that display. You get Jordan Addison, great job. Who cares? You have the worst defense in the NFC, or one of them. Everybody else in the NFC is butt cheeks.
Yeah,
we have that now. So when I see a fan, if you're watching this, if I see a fan who comes up to me and says, you're talking about the Cowboys, they suck. They got Dak. Yeah, I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just going to walk away.
That's not worth entertaining. So
well, another one that they say, or I was going to say one thing that I think is annoying is so that's a really annoying excuse, like why we're not going to go anywhere is because of Dak. But the one that is the most annoying is so are the Cowboys going to have a good season? You ask the networks, no, because we haven't been to a Super Bowl in like 30 years. It's like, so it's like this.
There are like 3 quarterbacks in the NFL that have a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
Actively playing.
Yeah, I think all of the things that we're bringing up, and by the way, I am of that generation, and I'll ride or die with these boys, okay? I am not who we're discussing here. I have found ways to get behind this team when it was really hard, okay? Yeah. So I know that Troy Aikman can't play forever. I know that Michael Irvin can't play forever. I know that Jason Witten can't play forever. I know that Tony Romo can't play forever.
Boy, we tried with Big Wit.
We tried, man. We tried to recharge him, So sent him to L.A., sent him to the booth, did everything we could with him. But Oakland at the time. Yeah, it was.
It's Vegas
that was their first year in Vegas, I think, is when he went over there.
Yeah, that was just
John Gruden.
That was just we did him dirty on that. Yeah. He should have just kept him one more year.
Just
retired.
let him be the tight ends coach or something. But yeah, no. So I'm ride or die with my boys. I don't know how you can call yourself a fan and look somebody square in the eye and say we suck, when we clearly don't.
I've just
we're
heard
coming
it
off
so many times.
12 back-to-back 12-win seasons, first time in Cowboys history, by the way. Mm-hmm. And then
or like we were talking about before this, when another Cowboys fan after a loss comes to find me.
Yeah,
but when we win, they're like, dude, did you see that blah, blah, blah about, this play? But when we lose, they make it a point to call me or find me or text me and say, how about them boys? Like, dude, just what kind of fan are you?
Cowboys
what even
fans
is that?
Want the Cowboys to lose?
Yeah, it's an anomaly that I've tried to use this segment to explain, and all we've done really is further confuse ourselves as to why that is.
I think there's something to your point.
It's a self-reflection thing. No, you Cowboys fans, the culture. Hopefully you guys are smart enough because you're watching this podcast. This is a self-reflection moment. Do not be like that.
Yeah.
Be different. Self-reflect and see why do I call Ethan and say, "Oh, what happened to the Cowboys last night?" Like, how about them boys when we lose? No, just be a fan. Be like, dang, that sucked. We lost.
Yeah.
Also, while we're on it, never say "dem boys."
Yeah,
Moving on.
don't say them boys.
Well, I think-
except for when we win the Super Bowl.
I think there's something to what you're
Because if we win the Super Bowl, we them boys.
I think, Steven, like, even though it seems like we just confused ourselves and didn't make much sense, I think that first off, I think there's two things going on here, at least in my mind. Number one, I do think the older generation is spoiled, and that's why they can't ever accept that what we have now is good. Even as good as as good as it is, it's not what we had, right? But then it seems like the younger generation, because they're still like what we're talking about, Ethan and Ethan's friends and just people our age that never even saw that hate on the Cowboys. And honestly, as I think about it, I'm like, man, I just think it's because the networks, all they do all day is hate on the Cowboys. And it's like these kids, they just, whatever they hear, they just believe it, and they just regurgitate whatever. And so it's like, yeah, I don't know. I guess that for your generation's problem, they need to stop being so like caught up in the past and just like enjoy the new success we're having. And then our generation, it seems like we just need to actually do some looking into it, do some research ourselves. Don't just listen to everything that ESPN says and just regurgitate
Stephen
it.
A. Smith tells you that Dak sucks and the Cowboys suck, and you just run with that.
Yes.
You don't look into the facts.
And stop taking delight in the losses.
Yeah. It's a really strange thing that only this franchise the Browns. They lose a tough game and they laugh at themselves for obvious reasons. It's like
the Browns.
They're like, we're the Browns. Of course we lost this game. We should have won. Dallas is a different deal, especially this version of the Cowboys. I honestly, I believe in Dak so much that I was a little frustrated in San Francisco last year.
No, me too.
I did want him to shoulder a lot of that because
there were so many moments in that game where I was like, okay, Dak's going to do it now. It's time. And it just didn't happen.
And it's like I've said in previous episodes, we're still waiting on that moment from Dak, and then that opens an entire can of worms, right? But here's the
which we talked about in episode 3.
Go back and check it out. Yep. So and again, thanks Dak Prescott for being a fan of the podcast. But
we know he watches.
Yeah,
that anonymous account
it's
that watches. We know it's
D4 star or whatever. Yeah, I know that's you. But yeah, to the Chargers fans, man, it'll never get better than when Stan Humphries from Southwood High School in Shreveport, Louisiana, took the Chargers to the Super Bowl and got waxed by Steve Young. But and that was Steve Young's it was the Niners' one and only time to break through from Dallas in '94, because we beat them 92, 93 to advance to the Super Bowl, and then again in '95. Shout out Stan Humphries. I know you watched too, but we went to the same high school. But you guys don't know who Stan Humphries is, do you?
Oh, nope.
Yeah, that's awesome. But I mean, to wrap up here, we're a divided fan base. Again, we need to look inward. We got to do better than that. We're the greatest football franchise in the history of the world.
See, Steven, for the viewers out there, Steven gave you a perfect history lesson of the Dallas Cowboys, and me and Jacob kind of are just hotheads about it because when we go online and we see stuff about the Cowboys, it's should we get rid of Dak? Every year, it's who has more pressure on their backs. Is it Dak or is it the head coach or Mike McCarthy? It's just like there should be no pressure. They're both great. He's a great quarterback and he is a great coach.
To be fair to our media, I say this very phrase all the time: we're the Dallas Cowboys. Don't get it twisted. All right. So man, you want to make money writing about the NFL? Write stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
And I just wanted to say one more time, my boy Ryan, I just texted you and he said, "Did we talk about how the Chargers are going to beat the Cowboys in Week 6 or whatever?" And that's not happening. So
you
heard it here. We're dubbing.
All
on
you got to
do
is go back and watch some. Go find some YouTube videos that from last year when we were doing our open practices and you get to see the offense and the defense. Go back and watch and you'll get to see a preview of the Chargers game.
If you think it was tough to keep Herbert healthy last season before, just Just wait, man. I mean, dude's gonna get hit every other play.
Wait till the bus that is Micah Parsons gets after that
Oh.
boy. But yeah, so man, we can go on and on and on and on and on about how Dallas doesn't get a fair shake. Its fans are, there's a portion, and I believe in my heart a small portion that just are loud, that for whatever reason hate our team.
Yeah. Stop being like that.
Yeah,
Just love the Cowboys. Watch the game. Enjoy when we are beating the snot out of the offensive player of the year. Enjoy the times when we score 33 points in the fourth quarter against the Colts. Enjoy the times where we retire Tom Brady.
Enjoy the times when the likes of, we talk about these teams that these teams will be there at the end, right? So enjoy the times when Joe Burrow's looking up at the lights, all right? Because he's getting just manhandled in Dallas all day.
That was awesome. Why do people? I mean, that was honestly one of the best days of my life. We had just lost.
Cooper Rush started that game and won it.
We lost our quarterback, and we lost and only scored 3 points, I think, in that first opening season game last season against the Bucs. Every Cowboys fan is discouraged, and we come back at home against the runner-ups in the Super Bowl last season with their whole team healthy, and we dubbed.
Yeah.
That was probably the one.
Yeah. So a lot of good times for Ethan, but yet to be excited.
We're getting it, man. We're going to hoist that Lombardi.
Yet to be excited about even hoisting or even participating in the NFC Championship game. Can't bring that up, can we?
No.
Can't talk about how we haven't been to an NFC Championship game in 30 years.
No, that's not today, Steve.
Until this
Not
year.
today.
Till this year. All right, so let's crash this thing, man. We probably kept on a little long, but
yeah, but I mean, hey, this is like I said, this is preseason time, mid preseason time. By the way, I just wanted, we're trying to find things to talk about other than how great Tolbert's doing every week and how none of the starters really played, so we can't really tell you anything interesting.
Brandon Cooks flies airplanes.
Yeah. However, if you're probably not going to see this till afterwards, but the culture will be at, I think, the preseason game this coming up weekend.
That is correct.
And we are going to the open practices at the Star this week. So if you see us and you're seeing this now, then hopefully you said hello to us and we said hello to you because you're watching. And, so that's going to be awesome. Again, thank you to our sponsors, 360 Roofing and Restoration. Like,
comment,
share.
Yeah.
Almost
YouTube,
forgot.
Instagram.
Instagram is huge. That's where we do most of our Instagram, Facebook, and I think that's it. But like, comment, subscribe for sure. Turn on the bell so you don't miss any posts from us. And, DM me because I would love to chat about what you think about the Cowboys, what you think about Dak, what you think about Mike, what you think about the team in general. I will respond.
Hey, and if you're sick of the Cowboys, but you call yourself a Cowboys fan, come at us. Tell us why.
Oh, yeah. I'll battle all day, baby. Or if you're like my delusional friend Ryan, who's a Chargers fan. Hey, I got all this. I want all the smoke from them. So let's hear it.
All right. Anyway, guys, shout out Eagles. We out.